Hey babies, really sorry I'm out today. Said it before though, if I'm out and you didn't know what was coming, probably not good. But we're ready, and just because I'm gone doesn't mean we're not going to learn today. I actually have a really important lesson on graphing for you to complete. So I know you've got experience graphing from your math classes, and some of you might have some experience from science, but graphing in science can be very different than graphing in your math classes, especially because we're working with real data. Graphing is a very valuable skill that it's important you know for bio, chemistry, physics, DPESS, any college math course. You're going to need to know how to graph a set of data. So that's what we're going to learn today. On Schoology, in this folder, you see we've got my video, which we're watching right now. Then there's activity 1, graphing practice, and then there is the independent practice. You need to go through these items in that order. So you watch my video, you do the activity 1, then you can do the independent practice. If you don't do it in order, you won't be able to access the documents correctly. What else do you need to know? Habits of Scholarship, it's all for a grade, so please make sure you complete it and do great things. Let's get started. So when you are graphing, it's going to be really helpful if you work in Google Sheets. I also personally like Microsoft Excel, but we've all got Chromebooks. Let's just use Google Sheets. So step 1, you're going to go to your Google Drive and you are going to open up a new document and a new Google Sheet. Once you get it loaded, you're going to want to make sure you give your sheet a title. If it'll ever load, honestly. I'm going to call mine Miss Pops sample data for graphing. This is just an example. Cool. Save it up. Next thing you're going to do is you are going to copy your data table from wherever it is into Google Sheets. So sometimes you'll make your own data tables and you'll write them down. Sometimes you'll pull them from other sources. In today's activities, you're pulling them from other sources. The data tables are being provided and you just need to insert it into Google Sheets. So I'm going to use this. That's not what I wanted. I found this cool graph. I'm just going to copy it into my Google Sheet. That way I can copy it into the actual columns on this sheet. So you need to copy whatever this picture is into the physical columns of your Google Sheet. If you are copying the data to begin with, you just copy your data table and type it in. Otherwise, you need to physically copy things over. For the purposes of our video today, I'm just going to show you how to do this with 2 columns. So I'm just going to talk about the time and the distance column. It's the same process with more columns in your graph, okay? So T seconds. This next column is D and cm. And notice how D is for distance, cm centimeters. Notice how I'm including my units. That's going to help you out later. I'm going to copy these values directly from my table. And you will copy them directly from the data tables provided to you. 0.3. Please make sure you are very careful as you type. Make sure you copy the numbers correctly and exactly. I can't tell you how many times I have accidentally mistyped when I am copying numbers over from like one literally right next to each other. If you do that, your graph is going to be wrong and you're going to look at it and say, I don't know what I did, but mine doesn't look the same as everyone else's. And I'll say, ooh, well, did you copy your points correctly? And you'll be like, oh, there it is. So I'm going to stop here because I don't want to waste all of our time getting all the way down to the bottom. You will copy the entire graph over. Once you have all of your data, you are going to click in the top left corner and you are going to highlight all of your data. Oops. Just your data, highlight it. From there, once it's highlighted, you will click Insert and you will insert a chart. Whoa, look at that. A beautiful plotted graph of what I provided. Our chart popped up automatically. Everything is scaled nicely. When I say scaled, do we see how it goes 0, 10, 20, 30, 40? It's the same distance each time, and it did it for us to help correctly plot our data. There are a couple different types of charts you might want to look at. This is a scatter chart. You'll probably want to use a line chart for most of your work. Line charts are fine for now. We can get into some other types of charts later on in our learning. So set up line chart. Once you do that, you're going to go to customize, and you need to change the chart and axis titles. The first thing that'll pop up is the chart title. Do you see how it says DCM versus TS? That's what I'm graphing, but let's get a little bit more specific. It's not just D, it's distance. And it's not T, it's time. We want to be as specific as possible. When we are titling our graph, it will always be the y-axis, the up and down, versus the x-axis, the side to side. As a note, if time is involved in your graph, time is always going to be on the x-axis. Always, 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 time is your independent variable. From here, let's edit our axes. So I go to horizontal axis. T is fine, but I'm going to change it to time. Vertical, D, it's okay, but let's make it better and call it distance. Okay. One more thing, if you are graphing multiple objects. So as an example, in the graphing activity, you will need to mess with this legend. Make sure it's in the right spot and make sure that each line is clearly labeled. Okay? So as an example, if I still distance in CM, and then I've got a different object. So it's going to be 3. Just making this up. And then 45. Cool. Highlight, it's the same process. Highlight it. Insert. We're going to insert a chart. Do we see how I got a new chart and it's got 2 lines? Easy peasy. On this now, we need to do a little bit more editing, right? A line chart is still okay. We'll customize it. Axis, it is not. The title is not D and D. The title should be distance, CM, versus time in seconds. Okay, notice how I keep it as my y-axis versus my x-axis. Messing with my horizontal axis, it still is time. My vertical axis, the one up and down, is distance in centimeters. Now let's look at that legend. Maybe it's under series, I apologize. When in doubt, you can always click on it. Okay, so this is going to be object 2, and then this sucker right here is object 1. Cool. Look at how easy that was. If you need to change anything, you can just click on it. Double click it, and it'll pop up over here for you to type on and mess with. I hope that was clear. Once you have your graph created, all you have to do is copy, Control-C, and paste it, Control-V, into your document. I hope this helped. I hope this made sense. If you have any questions or concerns, y'all know I'm here for you. Obviously, I'm out, so you can reach out to me, and it just might take me a minute to get back to you. Do your best, do great things, and love you lots. After you complete the graphing activity 1, you can move on to the independent practice. Feel free to pull this video up again and kind of graph along with me to kind of make sure you hit all the steps. And I can't wait to see your work. All right, love you lots. Bye.